And Angelo, you are live.
All right, good morning, everyone. This is our Student Advisory Committee meeting. It's October 15th at about 10:05 a.m. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. We're excited to be with you today, and hopefully this will be the last meeting that I'm helping to facilitate now that we have a chair, a vice chair, and a secretary appointments to make. So we do have a few agenda items to go through. And then after the appointments, and then we will move through those. So it should be a relatively short meeting, as I know everybody's busy. So with that, let me just look at the agenda. You want to go ahead and do roll call, Pam?
Sure, Angela, thank you. What I'm going to do, just so it was not quite as confusing as last month, call the reps from each of the community colleges, then each of the reps from the universities. If I don't have a rep present, I will then go to the alternate, but I won't be calling everyone's name until after I declare a quorum. So I'm not confused by quorum and people who have voted.
Okay. Hello? Uh-oh.
Kimberly Shropshire.
Yes.
Thank you. Cynthia Zuniga. Absence is noted. Jocelyn Eagle.
Present.
Elliott Ryan. Absence is noted.
Present.
Oh, you're there. Okay, wonderful. Thank you. I'll give you more than a 3-beat here. Julia Noriega.
Noriega and here.
Noriega, thank you. This time. Ruby Derafaca. Absence is noted. Anjani Spencer from Norwalk. Absence is noted. Camilla Correa. Absence is noted. Lorenzo Enderly. Absence is noted.
I'm here.
Oh, good. Okay. Thank you. Nelson Rivera. Absence is noted. Let's see. Will Herons. Will?
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Luis Sanchez from Northwestern.
Here.
Thank you. Jacelyn Lopez from Norwalk. You have a quorum from the community colleges. Haneen El-Kabasi. Did I say that right? Did I say that right?
Yeah, you got it. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Samantha St. John. Absence is noted. Brandon Iovine.
Here.
That close?
Oh, you perfect.
Okay, good. Told me last time, thank you. Patrick Moody.
Good morning.
Good morning, thank you. Clinton Sosna. Absence is noted. And Charter Oak has no rep. But you do, Angelo, have a quorum from the universities in Charter Oak as well. So with that, you have a quorum. I'm just going to go through and make sure I've identified everyone who is an alternate joining us for the meeting, as well as any guests that we have here. So if we just hold on just a sec. Claudia Coopy. Claudia, I thought I saw you. I see you, but you're muted. Haley Moran. Alex Grant.
Good morning.
Good morning, thank you. And I know we have a couple of guests. We have Gordon Plouffe. Did I say that correctly?
Yeah.
Sherry Paquette.
Just one second. Gordon, do you not have audio? I saw you typed yes in the chat. All right, Pam, go ahead. All right.
Sherry Paquette.
Yes.
Yep. Kelly Parody.
I'm here, ma'am.
Yep. And are there any other guests I did not call? Ooh, Gordon does not have his microphone.
It's okay. Elliott, are you going to be able to read your statement, or would you like me to read it on your behalf? I know that you had your wisdom teeth taken out, not to put your business out there, but I want to make sure that...
I can read it. I'm just not gonna turn my camera on because I have a lot of ice on my face.
Okay. I'm happy to read it for you if you're not able to, or you get halfway through and you want to switch. Just let me know, okay? Thank you.
All right,
Okay.
thank you so much, Angela.
Angela, you have a quorum and I've recorded all visitors. Business is yours.
All right, thank you. All right, so the agenda, the roll call is the most fun part of this meeting. It seems to be very detailed, which is great. So this meeting is being recorded. This is a public meeting. Anyone can join. I just want to make sure everybody's aware of that. For future SAC meetings, it would be super helpful if you all could either A, join from a computer these meetings, or B, download the WebEx app through the Android App Store or Apple Store. And then it'll show actually your full name and your college or university affiliation. It's just much more user-friendly. Type questions into the chat or raise your hand. It'll just make life a little bit easier for Pam and I, and really for your counterparts, so that everybody knows who everybody is. So if you do need information or directions on how to do that, feel free to reach out to us and we're happy to assist. So with that being said, the agenda, we're going to listen to remarks from the SAC officer position. So as you might remember, we put out a solicitation for people that might be interested in running for the chair, the vice chair, and the secretary, probably almost a month ago. Due to everybody's schedules and their commitments, both on campus and off, we didn't receive much interest, at least initially. So through some legwork and conversations and additional work, behind the scenes, we were able to solicit interest from 3 individuals. You might remember that this year needs to be a chair. The chair needs to be from a community college, as last year was from a university. The vice chair this year needs to be from one of the state universities. I apologize. The chair needs to be from Charter Oak or a community college. The vice chair needs to be from the state universities, and then the secretary can be from any of the constituent units. So we do have 3 parties that have submitted information as to why they think they would be good candidates for these positions. And so we are going to hear from them in a moment. The first person for the chair position is Julia Noriega from Middlesex Community College. Julia, would you like to say a few words about why you believe that you would make a good chair for the Student Advisory Committee?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, thank you for introducing me. I don't know any of you, so I'll give you a little introduction. So you guys know my name is Julia. I'm from Middlesex. At Middlesex, I'm the president of the Student Senate. I have my own club that I'm the president of. I'm an English tutor and I'm a classroom assistant, which is kind of like being a TA. So with all of that experience, especially like as a club president and Senate president, I think that being able to lead this meeting space, I have a lot of experience in, and I want to be able to be a representative for the Connecticut colleges at the Board of Regents and just serve as a face for all of the colleges so that everybody can feel welcome and heard.
Thank you for that statement. Does anyone have any questions for Julia? You do either raise your hand or you
Yeah,
can type something
Please,
in the
please
chat.
give me your questions.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Sure.
Is there
Who's
anything that?
speaking? Excuse
Oh,
me,
actually, I
who's
don't have
speaking so I
Sorry.
can record it, please?
Oh, of course. Lorenzo Enderly from TRCC.
Thank you.
Yep.
Go ahead.
My question is there anything that you expect of us, representatives of the community colleges?
I think maybe just I would just like to see like active participation and like I would say like not being afraid or like feeling shy to like speak about your college. I mean, I would personally like to get in contact with like all of the reps just so that we have a network like outside of these meetings. So that's maybe something that I would like.
Okay. I can definitely be in touch with you.
Yeah.
There are a few things that I'd probably want to address directly.
Yeah, absolutely. I can put my email in the chat too, so anybody can reach out to me because that would be
Okay.
awesome.
Julia, I have a roster of all of the members of the SAC, both the reps and the alternates that I can share with everyone.
That would be
So
awesome. Yeah, that would be
you all
fantastic.
have at least your emails, and if you choose to provide any other contact information, that would be great. As members of the SAC, you can just, in your bylaws, it says that any member can request that an agenda item, either a rep or an alternate can request an agenda item be sent to the chair as well as to Angelo for inclusion on an agenda.
Awesome. Great. Okay, yeah. That would be great if we could get everybody's contact info.
Will has a question. Will?
Nice to meet you, Julia.
You too.
Curious, what is one of the things that you are most passionate about in regards to either making a change or pushing for?
I think as far as making a change, I think that a lot of the times, I know that students are at the forefront of every decision that's being made, but I want to make sure that instead of having us be at the front of people's minds, being in the actual conversation while the decisions are being made. That's one of my main goals.
Of that. So if you need any backup or
Yes.
I will be willing to help you.
Awesome. Great. I look forward to it.
Does anyone else have any other questions? I just changed my layout back. I don't see any other hands raised.
Nor do I.
Okay, perfect. Should we do appointments after everybody speaks, Pam, or what's the best way to do this, do you think?
Your choice. You can formally appoint now. You can formally appoint as a slate of officers. Your choice.
Okay, let's go to the next party. Brandon from Southern Connecticut State University, who is running for the vice chair position. Brandon?
Good morning, everyone. I just would like to preface, if you hear a lot of loud noise, my dad is jackhammering my driveway right now. I don't know why. But anyways, hello. I'm representing Southern Connecticut State University, and I've been representing the student government there since my sophomore year, and after 2 semesters, I was appointed as the vice president of our Board of Student Experience, where I currently sit as a first semester senior. And in my role as a board chair, I've had the privilege to tackle like all sorts of different challenges, especially posed by COVID-19 and virtual learning. And we're working on a lot of other different things like supporting our clubs and organizations, space utilization, how Southern's best using our campus facilities. And we're looking at some issues regarding campus safety and campus climate. I've also had the privilege of representing Southern as a member of this committee since my first semester junior year. And since then, I've been able to really educate myself on a lot of the broader issues and politics surrounding the CSU system. And I've been able to actually like regularly report and share issues happening at Southern, share those with our, our sister schools, and, be able to see, what's going on a broader scale. And I can bring issues back from here to Southern as well. So I feel like I have, been able to kind of strike a balance between bringing certain issues from one place to another. And, if given the opportunity and appointed as vice chair of this committee, I don't want to be just an advocate for Southern. I want to be an advocate for all of you and all of the students in the CSU system. And my hope is that all of my actions and advocacy will always be reflective of student voices, because I'm a big supporter of all the decisions that get made in the system are, student centered. But yeah, I'd be welcome to invite any questions, please.
Thank you. Do we have any questions for Brandon?
Sounds like a powerhouse team. Woo-hoo.
Thank you,
Good.
Brandon. All right.
I see no questions.
I don't see any, which is fine.
Applause. That's it.
And then we have our secretary position. Elliott is from Manchester Community College, and he's going to speak to us for a few moments about why he believes and about his background he would make a good secretary. Elliott?
All right, thank you, Angelo. Good morning, everyone. I hope you're all doing really well. My name is Elliott Ryan. I'm a first-time student and first semester student at Manchester Community College. Just graduating from E.O. Smith back in the spring. I've always had an interest for getting involved in student activities, perhaps a little more than necessary, in clubs like our local debate team and Model UN. Politics, and more importantly, politics and education, has always been a passion of mine. And joining the student board is exactly what I was looking for. I hope to one day take what I've experienced in the SAC and at MCC to help a local school system from within administration. But first, I think I'd like to teach English for a few years. I look forward to contributing everything I can to this board and, more importantly, my school community. I'm super excited to learn anything I can from this opportunity. I hope everyone else is too. All right. Thank you so much for your time, guys. I'm going to put some more ice on my face.
Thank you, Will. Or thank you, Elliott. I'm sorry. Looking at the wrong name. Oh, we can do hand clapping with WebEx now. I did not know that.
Down on the bottom, across the bottom of your screen, you'll see an emoji, a reaction button, and you click on that, and you get all kinds of.
Did not know that. Okay, good to know.
Loading code. There you go. Look at that.
Yeah. All right. Awesome.
That old dog, new tricks. It's good.
True. It's very true. Elliott, do you have any questions for Elliott?
Just as a point of reference, Elliott, if you need any help getting up to speed in terms of taking minutes or taking notes, or how much to include in minutes and notes, knowing that we will have a formal recording, you can always reach out to me. Seems that it has been my life over the past 5 or 6 years documenting the history of boards and board committees. So I am your resource if you need it.
All right. Thank you so much, Pamela.
And you do such a great job, Miss Pam.
Thanks, Kelly. It's what I got my MBA for, you know? You never know where your life will take you.
Very true. Thank you, Pam.
On the path that's meant to be.
Oh, yeah. Okay. If you say so, that's good. It's good.
Okay, so barring any other questions, and since we have 3 students running unopposed, I'm formally appointing Julia Noriega from Middlesex Community College as chair of the Student Advisory Committee, appointing Brandon Iovine as vice chair of the Student Advisory Committee from Southern Connecticut State University, and appointing Elliott Ryan, secretary from Manchester Community College. Congratulations, everyone, and thank you. I know that we're excited about this work and getting started and kind of picking up for lost time in terms of getting the SAC up and running. There are a couple of agenda items, but I just want to say a few words. So these meetings are scheduled on months that the Board of Regents meets. It's per statute and the bylaws of this group of the SAC. So hopefully Fridays from 10 a.m. till roughly 12 p.m. Sometimes the meetings get done a little early or still work. We did try changing the meeting time last year, and it was a disaster in terms of people's availability and able to attend on a Wednesday at 10 o'clock in the morning. So historically, these meetings have been at 10 a.m. on Fridays. When we were pre-COVID, we were doing them in Hartford at the system office. Let's see how the spring semester looks as we move forward. They can stay virtual for now. You know, I'm hoping that we get back to some kind of new normal. We could at least meet in person once at some point, maybe outside before it gets too cold because of the mask guidelines for inside. But we'll keep these virtual for now. I talked a little bit about the WebEx app and downloading the WebEx version on your computer, which is helpful and important. I touched upon these are public meetings, so anyone can attend. They're virtually or otherwise. And these are recorded and then posted to YouTube, so they are archived in addition to us having minutes. In terms of the SAC last year with COVID and, you know, the world being turned upside down, and in some ways it's still on its side at least, the SAC was kind of muted in terms of what some of the issues and activities that they were able to engage in because people were pivoting to online learning. You know, they had issues with family members or friends, you know, becoming ill with COVID. And there was just a lot of other noise going on that really affected the ability for the SAC to do business. So I serve as the capacitor advisor to the SAC. I do work for the system office, but I'm also serving as the interim dean of students at Manchester Community College. And I've come by way of our state universities. So I've taken a class at Naugatuck Valley, my statistics class for math, because I'm not a math guy. I got my bachelor's degree from Western Connecticut State University in criminal justice and marketing, and then I have my master's degree from Eastern in organizational management. So I'm a born and raised in Connecticut guy, been through the school system, grew up in Cheshire, in Glastonbury, so I've been around. And I say all that to say, you know, we want the SAC to be successful. You all should think of yourselves as the student voice from your individual campus. You know, we have the chair and the vice chair who sit on the board of regents. They're voting members. Their responsibility is to take the totality of the voices that come up from the local campuses that you're all bringing to the table and make decisions and vote accordingly based on what the student desire or the student needs are. And it's very important that we have students at the forefront and at the head of the table because they shouldn't be an afterthought or a thought in someone's mind. They should be the ones making the decisions that directly affect them. So, you know, thank you, Julia, for those comments. I definitely agree with them. Now, where it gets a little foggy is we have 12 colleges, we have 4 state universities, and we have Charter Oak for online learning school. This board, this group, this committee really needs to have the totality of all those student voices. And they're all very different schools. Each has their own local flavor. The universities have residential housing. Charter Oak is completely online. So there's a lot of different things to consider. So my advice as being the advisor for this group for many years at this point, since I came to Hartford to the system office, is, you know, pick some high level topics or issues or, you know, activities that the group can engage in. And then really it touches the community colleges and state universities and Charter Oak. We want to make sure that whatever this group is doing is high level enough that it applies to all 17 schools. In the past, there's been some concern that, you know, this group is too community college focused and not, you know, there's not enough discussion about what's going on at the universities. So I just want to make sure that we have, you know, fair representation and people feel, you know, open and have the right to be heard. I can tell you from my perspective that there's a couple of major topics that come to mind that are going on currently, and I'm sure you've heard about them. Obviously, public safety is huge. You know, we've been mostly remote for over the past year. We have repopulated the campuses, but obviously, you know, safety and security and policing is the utmost concern for our campus communities. You know, we're looking at things like, you know, 5 of our community colleges have bona fide sworn police departments. The rest of them do not. They use contracted security. So there's talk about bringing some parity to public safety. We would love for the SAC to have a role in helping, you know, frame some of those recommendations. The other thing is mental health resources across the system. And I'll talk a little bit about this later. Timely MD is a telehealth, medical, and mental health counseling platform that we purchased and made available for all 12 community colleges and all those students that are involved. So mental health, obviously, especially as we come back from COVID, is huge, and we want to make sure that those types of issues are being addressed. Oh, and I forgot the third one, Pam. What was the third one? Well, the third one will come to me in a second.
Was it COVID? It wasn't COVID.
It was COVID too, and talking about how we can work as a system to, I don't know how I could forget COVID, how we could work as a system to kind of bounce back from COVID. We still have the mask and the physical distancing mandate on the campuses. That's not going away for the spring, but things like increasing our vaccination numbers on the campus, dispelling misinformation about the vaccines, and really encouraging, our peers, your peers, and our faculty and staff to get vaccinated for the betterment of the campus communities. The other thing I'll say really quickly is students first and the merger, the consolidation into Connecticut State is nearing its final stages. In the next 14 or so months, we will hopefully be Connecticut State, and the 12 community colleges will be merged into Connecticut State. So, there's been some news, and if you follow the Current or the Mirror or some of the other newspapers or online publications, I just want to make, just be clear that the merger is still happening. We're confident that it will be approved. We're excited about it, to be perfectly frank, but I do know that there's some information out there that maybe is not necessarily the most accurate. So if it would be helpful for this group, I'm happy to bring in some of the authors of the Students First Initiative that can answer questions. Obviously, this is democratic society. People have the right to, seek and read their own information and watch the news. But whatever information that's presented to you as student leaders and as students part of this committee, I want to make sure you're getting accurate facts and the correct information so you can make informed decisions. I will say that, I'm a student affairs guy. I think I told you a little bit about my history a few moments ago. I'm supporting Students First. I think it's going to be the best thing for our students across the system, especially the community colleges, because really what we're doing right now is not sustainable. Manchester is going through the hiring of 23 guided pathways advisors. So we will have 23 full-time staff that will meet with students to advise them and counsel them on classes. Do you know how many we had before? 1.5. One full-time person and then a part-time person. So we're already seeing some of the betterment and the positive effects of that consolidation and the merger. So happy to do an informational item on that on the agenda if that's what this group wants. I know that I spoke with Julia and Brandon about this, but I just want to make sure that the right information and the correct facts are out there, which I think will be helpful to everybody. So with that, does anyone have any questions about anything I said?
I don't have a question, but I do want to say that it would be very nice to have some people who can give us a little bit of information about the merger, because I feel like I don't know a whole bunch, so I would like that.
I second very much.
It's a good idea, and I'll look to see, use me as Pam and I as the conduit to the system office leadership and to other parties to bring in as talking heads or guest speakers. I mean, that's really the point of this as well. When it comes time to look at tuition increases or hopefully not tuition increases, Ben Barnes, who's the CFO of the system, will come in to talk to this group and hear your feedback and thoughts, and different types of specific issues that really touch the student population. But definitely some information on the merger, I think, would be very helpful, and I'm happy to bring in a guest speaker for the next meeting to kind of do a mini presentation on that, if that's helpful.
And I know that President Chang is anxious to meet everyone and to come and visit your next, if not next, the meeting after that, to welcome you all. He is on the road right now visiting all of the community colleges and universities. So it might not be right away. We just came back from Norwalk yesterday, and we're on the road 2 or 3 times a week visiting campuses. And he said repeatedly that meeting with the students was his favorite part of the day. So I know he's anxious to come and visit. So kind of as Angelo said, use us as your booking agent. Yeah, you want to hear something, we'll get the resources to come and speak to you. Okay.
Absolutely. So I want to touch really quickly on these last few agenda items. And for the chair and the vice chair, Pam will be reaching out with me to schedule a orientation session with the board. We're not going to just throw you into the fire. Lorenzo, did you have a question? I see your hand raised. Go ahead.
So again, Lorenzo from TRCC. Well, first, I guess I've sat on quite a few different boards in my time at TRCC, and in my experience, one of the most important things that a new board should really be focused on is recognizing historical context, knowing really what is on the playing field and what's been done before, and really being aware of the environment that you are being put into. I have been a part of SGA for a long time, and I think a few of the other members have also been a part of SAC for a while. So your fellow students, as well as obviously the advisors, would be a good resource for that. The question that I actually had was, what sort of reports or information? Because I also I'm very involved in what happens in terms of staff and faculty at my college in particular, and what happens with student life here. What sort of reports or information would be helpful in like, would you like me to send you updates, or would you like me to just send specific highlights that are more oriented towards the general campus? Would any of that be helpful?
So
Just
that's a good question. So your student activities directors, and I'm not sure if all of you know this, at least for the 12 community colleges, have been meeting over the past couple of months to talk about what Connecticut State Community College student activities look like once we turn into the merged college. And I had met with them either last week or the week before to kind of answer some questions. And their goal from the administrative purpose is to bring some congruency to the way student activities does business, not necessarily just in student activity fees, but Naugatuck Valley gives gift cards for gas as opposed to reimbursing students for mileage. Manchester, does the mileage reimbursement. So bringing some parity to the administrative process is really the first goal for at least them. But I did indicate to them that there needs to be a conversation with students about student activities and student government associations as it relates to what's going on locally at the colleges, the student activity fee, and what this SAC, the Student Advisory Committee, looks like once we merge into the one college. So you might want to go back to, I think it's Alicia over at Three Rivers, and talk with her. She's actually the co-lead for the student activities group, and the other co-lead is Karen Blake from Naugatuck Valley. And talk to them, and maybe it would be good for a subset of you, or they can come to this meeting to get your thoughts and feedback as it relates to the community colleges. But all of those conversations are at the beginning stage right now. But that's a very good point. We definitely want the student voice involved.
Luis Sanchez has his hand raised.
Okay.
Recognize him.
Hello, my name is Luis Sanchez. I'm currently first semester student at Northwestern Community College. In my opinion, because of COVID and all the events happening around the world, I feel like between the students' activities and the students, I'm talking for my campus especially, I feel like there's a little bit of disconnect. A lot of kids are still afraid of going out, because of COVID and stuff. So, I feel like maybe looking forward, we as a group, we can talk about more and like getting students more involved into student activities and making students feel more included into, the college system and make them understand how the college system works. Because I feel like most kids don't understand, how all of this works. And I feel like that could be a more informational to the general public, could be one topic that we can in the near future talk more about.
It's a great point. Thank you for sharing. I agree.
In terms of historical documents, back to what Lorenzo had talked about, the board page on the main homepage, the ct.edu page, on the far right, there's a link to all of the Regents historical information, both as a resource. Oh, are you sharing, Angela?
Yeah, I'm gonna bring up.
Oh, okay. As a resource for you for past reports, for activities of the board, for resolutions that have been passed as they pertain to academics, as they pertain to student affairs, oh, there it is. Can you pause? Oh, those are, don't go there. Don't go to archives. Go all the way back up to the top. There you go. And click on Regents and do just past meetings. The archives is pre-2011. So past meetings, you can sort by committee. So if you're interested in any of the work that finance is doing, your meeting is there. All of the historical documents for the work of the advisory committees are there, especially the topics that have been addressed by the SAC over the years. So you can kind of get a sampling of the issues, some that have been resolved and have gone away, some that are, still out there. So the business of the SAC is beautifully documented historically, and you can take a look at what's going on, as well as what's coming up for the full board and what they're going to be addressing as we go forward we have a meeting next month. So as soon as we get the chair and the vice chair through their orientation, they'll be able to join us on the board and begin participating as voting members of the board. So we'll get that on the books quickly.
Thank you. That's great. And this will make Elliott's job easier in terms of following a format for the minutes, since you won't need to recreate the wheel, which is great. So additionally, while I'm here, Timely MD for our community colleges, I know there was a quick update on here with regard to this. Timely MD is now, it's actually Timely Care. They just changed the name last week, so I apologize. Timely Care, which is telehealth for students, is now available. It launched on Columbus Day, October 11th, this past Monday. It launched for all 12 community colleges. So any student enrolled at any of the Connecticut community colleges that's enrolled for at least one class, continuing ed, credit, non-credit, has access to Timely Care. And what Timely Care gives all of our community college students is access to 12 individual telehealth counseling sessions with a clinician, as a mental health clinician, so a counseling provider. These are done either by video or it's done by telephone. And those 12 sessions are for each student to use, and they reset every academic year. This is done via website. The website that I'm on is, was sent to all of the students in the schools. And all you do is you can download the app. It's for Apple phones or Android phones. You log in with your school credentials, your email address, and then you're able to access the 12 individual counseling sessions. You can pick a provider based on someone who looks like you, some of your interests, someone who shares the same backgrounds as you. It shows you pictures of the providers. There's Spanish-speaking providers. It really allows you to connect with someone who you would feel most comfortable with. For the 12 individual counseling sessions, you're able to reschedule and schedule additional sessions with the same provider should you want to have continuity of care and see the same clinician. Let's say you have a rash on your arm, or you stubbed your toe, or you're sick and maybe you have the flu. Timely Care also gives community college students access to a health platform via telehealth, where you'll meet with a doctor or a medical clinician, a nurse, a PRN, a physician's assistant, and they are able to meet with you on demand to address any kind of health ailments or issues via the Timely Care platform. And those sessions are unlimited. So you can do one time, you can do it hundreds of times. And the provider will work with you to address whatever medical concerns or issues you have. They also have the ability to call in prescriptions for you for non-narcotics. But if you need, ibuprofen, it's the one, have strep throat. Whatever the one you have when you have strep throat, they're able to call that one in for you, or any kind of
Antibiotic?
they're able to call antibiotics in as long as they're non-narcotics. So that is great news for our students. There's also a chat feature that's available 24/7, 365. Let's say you're taking your midterms or your finals, or you have something going on at home and you're feeling anxious. You're able to talk with somebody on demand, whether it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon or 2 o'clock in the morning, and they can kind of talk you through how to deal with and address some of those issues. On the page right now, these are open: the stretch and lengthen yoga, morning meditation, calming meditation. These are all available to CT State folks, whether it's students, faculty, and staff in our system. There's multiple sessions a day and at night, and you're able to register for these free of charge and use them as you see fit, or as you want to, and with your classmates. The FAQ does a great job of answering some of the questions that have come up recently. But again, all you need is your school credentials to log in to this website or to this app to be able to access, that information, to log in to get those appointments. If for some reason a student doesn't have access to technology, whether it's a computer or a phone with a camera, or doesn't have a private space to be able to do the counseling sessions at home, the colleges have been advised to offer a private space for students to be able to use a computer and engage in the timely care services. So you would need to reach out to the Dean of Students at the community college to coordinate that. So that's just a quick consideration on timely care, and then just a few moments on COVID-19. There we go. COVID-19. So you can be rest assured that our system is working daily, if not all day, on COVID-19 and some of the restrictions that are in place. I know that we had mentioned that we had hoped to kind of ease some of the restrictions come winter and then come spring. Unfortunately, at least at this point, the spring is not looking like there'll be any change in the restrictions that are currently in effect. So the 3-foot physical distancing, which is what all your classrooms are set up as on campus, and the masking, regardless of vaccination status, will continue through the spring semester, unless there's some major change in the health landscape, and CDC and the DPH recommend that masks can be dropped. So you can be rest assured that we'll keep those guidelines in effect. The good news is the majority of our campuses have very high vaccination rates, whether they receive both shots or they're fully vaccinated or at least partially vaccinated. We're still in the midst of compiling those numbers and data. As emails go out to the system, to the faculty and staff, I will forward them to this group so that you're able to see and know how many students or how many folks are vaccinated, how many folks are testing weekly as a alternative to being vaccinated for having a medical or non-medical exemption. But Southern Connecticut State University, 95% vaccinated, which is a super high number and a great number. And our universities have been doing a great job, especially with the residential populations having the students vaccinated. I will say that there's been no major outbreaks on any of the campuses, state universities, community colleges included. Our faculty, staff, and students and administrators have done a great job making sure that the campuses are safe. The contact tracing, when needed to be done, is done correctly, and making sure that the students and the faculty and staff are submitting to weekly surveillance testing in the event that they're not vaccinated. But there'll be more to come on that soon. Just know that it's something that we're working on daily. But unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on which way you slice the pie, things are changing every day. So it's hard to be consistent or come out with a one system message when things seem to be changing daily. So more to come, but you can likely expect business as usual on the campuses for the spring. I will say for the community colleges, we're at about 30% of classes are offered on ground in person. This fall, that number should go up to about 50 or 60% of classes being offered on ground in person at the community colleges. So that number will increase, which will be great news. And I think it was the Norwalk rep, and I forgot your name, I apologize. It was Luis maybe, who mentioned student activities. You'll see as the classes start to repopulate on ground and there's offerings in person, student activities will follow suit. And hopefully more students will get engaged in those activities and be able to be part of clubs, maybe go on trips, and things like that, depending on what the health climate is. But if there's any questions, I'm happy to answer them or get additional information, which I think will be, student activities is important. You want to have as normal and regular of a college experience as possible in the midst of what's going on. So I totally feel for all of you. Elliot, do you have a question? Or is your hand raised from before?
Yeah, I just raised my hand about the telehealth stuff, but
Sure.
Oh, absolutely. All right, thank you. I just wanted to say I don't think this telehealth stuff is broadcasted very well because we do get a lot of emails from our schools, and a lot of kids don't really pay full attention to what we get in emails. And yesterday was National Depression Screening Day, I believe, and it was alarming how many children would sit down with an official because they were worried about their mental health. And I think broadcasting this sort of material that is available to students more widely would be very beneficial to a lot of kids at schools who necessarily don't have access to it on their own time.
So I think that's a great point, Elliot. And I'm the project lead for this, for timely care in my free time in my system office role. And I would be interested in hearing from you all how you think we should get the word out there. Because to be perfectly honest, you get, if you're a Manchester student, you're getting a lot of emails from me already. And I'm sure it's probably too many, but we really are limited in the way that we can communicate with students. It's email. I actually sent out an Everbridge text message through the school's alert system. We have flyers and posters, but if you don't have students on campus, they're not going to see those. But I would be interested in hearing if you have any suggestions or the SGA has suggestions on how to reach students about this. Because to be perfectly frank, this contract is about $700,000 a year for 2 years. So we want to make sure that people are using the platform and getting access to the healthcare that they have available to them. So if you have suggestions now, I'm happy to take them. You can email me. Social media is great. Our marketing folks are putting that up on social media, on the web pages and the Facebook and Instagram accounts. But if you have other suggestions too, that would be awesome and be very helpful.
Hi, Angela. Hi, Angela. My name is Jocelyn. I'm from Housatonic Community College. I was thinking as well, maybe, I know in student activities, I'm also a worker there. We have this kind of trouble with like the whole email and social media and trying to like put it on the media platform. But at the end of the day, we get our most effective results with events and other academic offers through my ComNet and Blackboard. And since my ComNet is fully controlled by the system office, I know at least for the community colleges, is there a way we could put a page on there, much like we put a page for Blackboard and the email for like timely
That's a good
care?
idea. Yes, I'll actually look into that today. That I did not think of that, but that would be perfect. Just like the attestation forms for COVID. No, I think we can definitely put that there. Thank you for suggesting that.
I would like to add that for on-campus students, that it would be really beneficial to maybe just have somebody broadcasting this in person, like at the bottom of the SAT, like yesterday.
On the bottom of the what?
AST building.
Oh, AST building. Okay.
Yeah, like what was happening yesterday. If kids could just, I don't even know how to do it, but there were a lot of in-person kids who really benefited by yesterday, and I think in-person kids are, I don't want to say more important, but they're easier to get to,
Okay. Definitely in person is very important. Thank you.
I think maybe one thing that we could do too is having maybe like, then this is something that like we would have to talk to professors about, but maybe being like, oh, you'll get like a point extra credit if you if you can prove that like you went to the site. And like having professors like, or like just have professors like directly tell their students about this. Because like if a student's in class, they're going to be in class whether they're in person or online.
Great idea. Thank you. And it, just so that you're aware, an email did go out to all staff and faculty at the 12 community colleges. Now, whether they broadcast that in the classroom, we don't necessarily know, but we can definitely do some follow-up there. And, as student leaders on your campuses, push back and make sure that your deans of students and deans of administration and your CEOs and presidents are doing their part to share the word about this timely care. There's only so many emails that I can send out from the system office. The local campus connections are really what's important for students to get connected to these services. Because, the fact of the matter is, if the platform is not used or used enough based on, the metrics in terms of what we're paying for it, there will be less of an argument for us to keep this, after the 2-year contract and the funding dries up. So just something to consider. Great points. Thank you.
Just to piggyback off of that, this is Claudia from Untitled Community College. What I'm running to is a lot of students don't even know how to locate their college email. So that's a real big problem on our campus where they don't engage because they don't know how to get into their college email.
Yeah,
That's a
that's
huge
definitely
problem.
a huge problem. I agree.
So I say we do some old school tabling, flyers. You know, I'm the type of president, I just go up to students and just start talking to them.
Awesome. Okay. Tim St. James up there is great. And I know that he's put the word out, but I'm sure he would be happy to support, tabling and flyers and kind of going that extra mile. But I agree, we need to do some additional in-person work.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
I don't see any. Julie, do you have enough?
Yeah, I have one more thing I want to
Sure.
add. And I know that we can't do anything about it in this meeting right now. But I just want to put a reminder out there that I personally, and I heard this from a lot of other students on my campus, that having online classes, whether it's fully online or Elron, is extremely beneficial. And it also is not even just for students who prefer that mode of learning, but for accessibility issues. If you don't have a car or you have issues being in a classroom, I think it's incredibly important to keep, even if it's a significantly decreased amount of online classes that we have.
Yeah, duly noted. We definitely won't go back to pre-COVID days where there was such a small number of online classes, but we've definitely found that the online classes and the LRONs are convenient to a subgroup of students and to a good majority of them. But to be frank, we've also heard feedback from students that they haven't come back to school or they haven't re-enrolled because they don't have access to as many on-ground in-person classes. So I think that there's a balance that we need to strike for enrollment goals and enrollment purposes, but also making sure that we meet student needs. We also don't want our community colleges to turn into Charter Oak, which is completely an online school either. So there's definitely a delicate, balance that we need to make sure that we make. But the online classes and the LRONs have been, for the most part, widely well received, which is great.
If I may just quickly add onto that, something that we've been looking into at Southern specifically is how a lot of our faculty have been, kind of pushing back towards wanting to kind of transition to more online classes as opposed to more on ground, which is kind of what we've been doing this semester. And some of the data shows that already, I think there was a 13% increase in the amount of faculty who wanted to, who submitted to, I guess, whatever scheduling powers that be, for next semester, that their modality be changed to either hybrid or fully online. So I think it would be interesting to know, across the entire system, what that's looking like and what the sentiment is behind it, because there's a lot of concern at Southern specifically, just about how that's going to look like, and how education will just be permanently affected by the things that we dealt with during the height of the pandemic. So just throwing that out there.
Well, and that's definitely something that we need to take into account. And I'm sure Southern, the scheduling powers that be are the vice president for academic affairs and the deans of the areas. And I can promise you that, all the requests to switch modalities from on-ground to online won't be honored or approved, especially if it doesn't meet the university's needs or really student needs. And I can say, I think it's getting better, especially with the vaccination rates going up. But people had a hard time coming back to campus. Whereas some of us, like me and the student affairs team at Southern, I know for sure Dr. Tyree and Dr. Tetrell and their team, they've been there through the entire pandemic. So people have been there working on ground, and some of the faculty have not come back to campus until really this semester. So there is going to be a curve where we want to just make sure that people feel safe on campus, but at the same time that we're offering the best student experience that we possibly can, and not necessarily is always online or hybrid.
We just started today too, I believe beginning next week, that faculty, staff, and residential students over the age of 18. As long as it's been 6 months, we're starting to offer booster shots for COVID-19. I don't know if that's happening anywhere else, but
Yep, that's great. All of our campuses have, the community colleges and state universities have weekly testing through a COVID-19 vendor, and the Griffin yellow minivan, they're not minivans, they look like SUVs to me. They drive around the different campuses and offer vaccine clinics. And they'll also start doing the booster shots as well, once they are more widely available. But the community colleges have hosted vaccine clinics that have been open to the community members too, which have been widely successful. Access is definitely not, to the vaccine at least, has not been an issue, at least in recent months, which is great, at least for our colleges and universities. That's good. Thank you on the boosters. I don't see any other hands raised. Kelly, do you have your hand raised?
I did, Angela.
Broke up. I couldn't hear. I don't know if it's me or you. Can't hear. Not sure if it's me. I can't hear you, Kelly. These people shaking their head no. Maybe use the chat if you're having a audio issue. Okay.
Angelo, I'm sorry. I just got a note that we're having bandwidth problems. So can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you fine. Hopefully everybody heard me.
Yeah, I just got a WebEx thing that we're having bandwidth problems, which could explain.
Got it.
Yeah. Okay.
That was really the agenda in terms of anything I had. I'm happy to take any other questions on COVID or timely care, but we will send out the meeting schedule for the rest of the semester. The chair and Julia and Brandon will get information on the orientation sessions for the board. And then we will have these meetings every month that the board meets. But for the figurehead or the spokesperson coming in for the next meeting, I think that the feedback or the consensus was somebody to come talk about students first, and maybe President Chang, if you can fit this into his calendar, to come say a few welcoming words. If not, we'll have him come to the next meeting after next, if that works for everybody.
Yeah, well, you don't meet in November.
Oh, we don't? Okay.
Because the board does not meet in November because of the Thanksgiving break. Because the board meets on Thursdays, and Thanksgiving falls generally on a Thursday. So the board does not meet Thursday in November. So your next meeting is in December.
And Julia, Brandon, and Elliott, we can talk. If we wanted to do a special meeting for November to build up some momentum, we still have the ability to do that. But let's have a sidebar conversation on that. It's October 15th. If you're not meeting till December, that might be a little challenging to kind of get the ball moving. But we'll have a conversation, and obviously we'll make any notifications that we need to prior to that, happening and taking place. Are there any last questions or anything? I haven't been able to see the chat because I have you all up on my screen. I'm assuming we're good there, Pam?
Yeah, I'm just double checking right now.
Hi, I noticed that Kelly has a question in chat afterwards. I just want to verbally raise my hand. My hand raise button doesn't work.
Sure.
And it's
I'm not sure I understand Kelly's question, but we can get some additional information from her in writing later. Oh, adding it to the syllabus for timely care. Yes, definitely, we can look at that. Thank you, Kelly.
That's all I was saying.
I didn't know who was just speaking.
Hi, this is Jocelyn Eagle from Housatonic again. I was just, I heard from suggestions from both faculty and students here on campus about the attestation form. And I know that we have the October 18th deadline coming up. However, there was some concern, like both ends, it's more of like an honesty code. And we were wondering from system office if it's gonna, with the COVID policies updating soon, if that attestation form is gonna get stricter, whether someone whether we submit like our vaccine.
I think Jocelyn broke up. Can you hear me? Shake our heads, yes. Okay. So I think I got the gist of it. We are looking at non-medical, I think what you're referring to is non-medical exemptions for the colleges and universities and the ability to accept them. That's under advisement and review right now. And no decisions, at least at this moment, have been made for the spring semester. But I anticipate something going out either at the end of next week or the beginning of the following, so that people can make, informed decisions. If we're not able to allow for as many non-medical exemptions to be approved, they have the ability to either A, get vaccinated, or B, consider transferring to another institution that doesn't require the vaccine. So I do anticipate we will somewhat reduce the number of non-medical exemptions. For example, people that apply for non-medical exemptions, one of the main reasons is that the vaccine has not been FDA approved. Well, as we know, the Pfizer vaccine has. So our colleges and universities are going back to those students and saying, hey, Johnny, you apply for a non-medical exemption, your weekly testing, the FDA approved the Pfizer vaccine, now's the time to get vaccinated. So those educational conversations and discussions are happening across the system. But in terms of us either A, requiring the vaccine of all students and faculty and staff for the spring, and B, eliminating non-medical exemptions for the spring, that hasn't been decided yet, but will be very soon. So more to come on that for sure. All right. Lorenzo, do you have your hand up again, or is that the same hand? Go ahead. You're muted, I think. Yeah, you're muted.
You're hearing a lot from me today. Sorry, guys. But could the email roster be made available, or like appended to the minutes? Unless
I'll
it's
send it
posted
out
somewhere?
directly to all of the SAC members is either this afternoon. I'm hoping that Angelo's going to get me a Charter Oak or a Gateway contact, and then I'll update and send it out this afternoon.
Okay, my board might have a couple of action items to report on whenever we meet next.
Okay, great. For the SGA you're talking about, or the?
Oh, for my my student government board, I might be getting a new representative soon.
Okay.
Thank you. All right. Well, I guess we'll get to enjoy some extra minutes. Hopefully everybody gets to enjoy the weekend, and I appreciate you coming to the meeting today. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, feedback, or if you think of some ingenious way to market timely care to students at the community colleges, definitely feel free to let me know. But please feel free to share that resource, to anyone who might be interested. All right.
And congratulations, Julia, Brandon, and Elliott.
Thank you.
Awesome.
We'll get to work on your orientation and get you ready for moving forward with the group.
Loving these emojis. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
Have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Recording is stopping. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good day, guys.
Thank you.